Hi, how are you? I know it's been forever, and so if you're coming back, thank you so much because I really do appreciate it. It's been forever. If you don't know who I am, or if you're just brand new to my channel, my name is Gina, and I talk about everything history, mystery, true crime, paranormal activity, or even just sometimes random videos. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and stay updated with my new content. Thank you. It is January 8th, so we are only 8 days into January 2021, and everything is already so wild. People have gone mad. And by people, I specifically mean Trump supporters. Not that they weren't mad before, but we did get to see them go mad on live television. Honestly, I really debated about making this video because I know that this is such a controversial topic when honestly it shouldn't be, and I keep saying honestly, my bad. But no, seriously, it shouldn't be a controversial topic because I know that we all know that what happened was wrong unless you are completely delusional, but we know that what happened was wrong and it shouldn't have happened, but it did. So it shouldn't be controversial, but it is. This is a scary video for me to dive into because I don't know, it's like I guess it's about my own opinions and I'm putting myself out there, and I know that I'm gonna be judged by my beliefs or my my thought process or whatever. But I do think that it is a necessary video, and I do feel like ranting a little bit about what happened. So here I am, and if you are interested in what I have to say, you can just keep watching. Let's get started. Those who are not delusional, no, Trump lost the election fair and square, and he's not used to losing. He's like a child that always wins, and if he loses, he throws a huge tantrum and things can get ugly. So that's exactly what happened this time. He lost and he threw a tantrum, and he used his tiny little fingers on his tiny little hands to get on Twitter and type away about how the election was rigged, it was fake, and it was fraudulent. His supporters, of course, they believe everything he says, and they believed it. And I mean, I have Trump on email, like not him, of course, but his campaign team. I have them through email, and they would be sending me messages about how I need to join the fight to fight against this rigged, fake, stolen election. I saw them. I saw those emails. They were sent to me. So these emails were being sent out to his supporters. These emails were being sent out to people who honestly believe every single thing he says, no matter what is actually proven. And so these people decided to join the fight against this stolen election. Trump, as well as a lot of other conservative leaders, started to push people to gather on January 6th. They wanted to gather at the Capitol to talk about how they were going to join to fight the stolen election, and they were tweeting about this for days, inviting people to come, making sure to let people know where it would be at, what time it would be at, all of that information. And of course, his supporters would go, he knew this, and so that's what he did, and they did go. And they came prepared with guns and ammo. They came wearing Nazi shirts. Seriously, Nazi shirts? Why? That's ridiculous, and that's so why? They came with their Confederate flags. Again, why? And this guy showed up in a fur hat and horns.
What?
So that's how everything kind of started originally, and things got pretty out of hand because they ended up, storming the Capitol. And keep in mind that these were hundreds, probably thousands of people gathered at one single place, and of course none of them were wearing masks, which we already know that it's really inconsiderate of them to do that because are we not in a global pandemic, guys? Are we not in a global pandemic?
What are you doing?
If you're gonna storm the Capitol, if you're gonna do that crazy stuff, you might as well just wear your mask, because let's say one of those people was sick if they spread it to someone else, that person is going to go back to their hometown and, you know, take it with them to their hometown. And then they're going to give it to their coworkers, their friends, their family, and then their coworkers, their friends, and their family is going to give them to their coworkers and their friends and their family. And I think we all know how this works. So it's just more infections coming out of this event. I know it's safer in outdoor places, I get that, but it's still just better to be prepared with that. But no, they weren't prepared with masks. Again, what they were prepared with, ammo and guns and weapons and just a collection of racist things that they did. There was a guy who literally, there was two guys, they reenacted, and this is horrible, this is really stupid and horrible to do. They reenacted the murder of George Floyd. Who in their right mind reenacts the death of a man, like the murder of a man? Who does that? They're not okay, and they're not okay. Like I said, Trump and conservative leaders had been planning this for a few days at least. From what I saw, it was probably way before that. And they were letting people know days in advance when it would be and where it would be and everything, all of that information. So what I don't understand is like how police were so unprepared for what was thrown at them. Honestly, when it comes to the Black Lives Matter protest, when it came to those, police would be there like that, ready with riot gear, with pepper spray, with gas, with rubber bullets, like that. You could plan a Black Lives Matter protest the day before, and somehow they would find out immediately and just be there and be prepared with all of that riot gear, rubber bullets, all of that. But this was planned days in advance, and pretty much nothing was done. The police weren't really dressed in riot gear. The police were, they didn't throw rubber bullets. They didn't really do much of any of that. And it's really crazy to see it because we're watching it on live television, just like we watched the Black Lives Matter protest on live television, and you can see the stark contrast between the two. They're completely, the response from the police was completely different in the Black Lives Matter protest than the terrorist attack that happened on the Capitol on January 6th. Completely different. Also, these Trump supporters are the same people that would say constantly Blue Lives Matter as a response to Black Lives Matter. They would constantly say that. And as it turns out, at least one police officer died on that terrorist attack on January 6th. And of course, police were very much like literally pushed over by this crowd and disrespected, and just police completely lost their authority against these people completely. So Blue Lives Matter when it's convenient for you, when they are doing what you want, when they are not letting minorities and people of color have their rights. This group of very pro-life Blue Lives Matter people killed a police officer. This group disrespected authorities and disrespected the police by doing what they did. They just completely showed that to them, blue lives don't matter. Blue lives only matter when blue lives are there to continue the oppression of minorities and Black people. So the specific statistic that I got was at the time when I was doing the research, at least, a man named Ken Delonian, sorry, I can't pronounce names, from NBC, he tweeted that a congressman had told reporters that as many as 60 Capitol police officers were harmed, with one of them being in critical condition. And now one of them is confirmed to have passed away. So again, blue lives only matter when blue lives are not infringing on their rights, when blue lives are not, you know, getting them in trouble for their actions. Blue lives only matter when they are getting minorities in trouble for their actions, or black people in trouble for their actions, or just, you know, serving as a form of continuation of the oppression of minorities. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, but I do think that this Wednesday, these Trump supporters showed that to them, blue lives don't really matter. At the same time, like I have said before, police kind of responded in a really, really inadequate way, and in this way they enabled these people to do what they did. Police officers, again with Black Lives Matter protests, they had tear gas, they had pepper spray, they had rubber bullets, they had riot gear, and I know this because I witnessed it. People were stepping off of the sidewalk and they would get pepper sprayed. They would get tear gassed for stepping off the sidewalk. And in the case of what happened on Wednesday, it was very different. There was police officers even letting people in through the gates. Why, I don't know, but there was police officers letting people in through the gates. There was police officers taking selfies with these people. Unbelievable, really. All in all, we got to see white privilege right there in front of our TV screens live. We got to see a perfect example of what we mean when we say that white privilege still exists in the United States. Had it been anyone other than white people, it would have been complete chaos, even more than what it was. There would have been a lot more casualties, a lot more people hurt. Had it been anyone other than white people, this would have been taken a lot more seriously. But because it was white people, they were allowed to do this, and they were allowed to go back to their hotels and relax for the night because, I don't know, they have the privilege to.
If these insurrectionists were black, they would have been shot in the face. And my God, if these insurrectionists were Muslim, they would have been sniped from the top of buildings. So I want to know from the Capitol Hill police, what is it? Is it just white people? Or is it Donald Trump supporters? Why do you scream at people for walking across the street 3 blocks away from the Capitol? Why are you known as badasses around the Capitol? But then Trump supporters come in and you open the fucking doors for them. Oh my God. You open the doors for them and let them breach the people's house. What is wrong with you?
We all saw what happened to Black Lives Matter protesters at Target. When they looted the Target or whatever, we saw what happened to them. But when these people go and loot the Capitol building, nothing happens to them, really? Make it make sense. To me, it's ridiculous because you can't compare Black Lives Matter protest to what happened on January 6th, because Black Lives Matter protests were done for actual important reasons. Black Lives Matter protests were done to stop the horrible injustices that Black people have faced for hundreds of years. Black Lives Matter protests were done to stop the systemic racism that's been present in the United States for hundreds of years. Black Lives Matter protests were done because Black people were being murdered by the police. Yeah. Black Lives Matter protests were done for human rights and civil rights. While this other thing that happened on January 6th was just a huge tantrum thrown by hundreds or thousands, I'm not sure, of people, hundreds or thousands of people throwing a tantrum because their favorite reality TV star didn't win a second term at the presidency. Their favorite reality TV star wasn't liked enough. Their favorite reality TV star didn't get enough votes. And instead of just accepting it and moving on, they just decided that they were gonna go crazy and just, do what they did, which is completely unacceptable. And it shouldn't have happened. And when it did happen, the response from the police should not have been what it was. As of when I did my research, only 13 people were arrested at the time and 4 people had passed away, which is completely different than when it happened at the Black Lives Matter protests, where around 13,000 to 14,000 people were arrested and a lot of people were killed for protesting. One thing that bothers me personally, like legit personally, because I know these people, is people on my Facebook that when Black Lives Matter protests were going on, they were going on and on about how looting is wrong, there's better ways to protest. They were complaining about, one of them even posted that Candace Owens' ignorant, ridiculous video about George Floyd. He posted that and he titled it, there's two sides to every story or something. Like, no, there's not. George Floyd, he was murdered for no reason. That's the whole story. That's it. Like, it doesn't, nothing else matters. This guy was murdered by police officers for no reason, with no justification. How is it that these people cared so much about looting, cared so much about buildings and Target and whatnot, but when it comes to the Capitol building, when it comes to this domestic terrorist attack, they're completely silent. It's like they don't even know that it happened. I mean, if you're gonna find justifications for things, this is not it. This is not it. So I don't know how you go to church every Sunday and sit there and act like you have good values and good morals and good convictions when you're okay with things like this. These things are not okay. I don't know how you call yourself pro-life if you're not gonna stand up to defend the rights of Black people. I don't know how you're gonna call yourself pro-life when Black people are being murdered and you're completely okay with it. Don't know how you call yourself pro-life when you share things about how the murder of George Floyd is justified because of his past. That isn't pro-life. That isn't good morals. Those are not good values. And I don't know how you, and I'm not talking to a specific person, but I know there's hundreds and thousands of people in the United States that think this way. So I guess I'm talking to all of them. I just don't know how you believe that you are better than anyone else, that you are more Christian or religious or spiritual or just a better person than anyone else. I don't get it, but I'm gonna move on because I guess I'm getting sidetracked. After the whole ordeal, this is what Trump had to say.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
So yeah, there you go, guys. He told them he loved them. He thanked them for being there and their support. And he basically dismissed them home after inciting everything that he incited. And it was just like a slap on the wrist. It wasn't anything like what he said for Black Lives Matter when he said, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. He literally said those words. Well, tweeted, whatever. That's literally his response to that. But when this happens on the Capitol building, when police officers are being endangered by these people, the senators and the congressmen that were inside that Capitol building, their lives are being endangered, but he doesn't care about that. He just wanted his ego fulfilled by knowing that all those people were there to fight for him. So if what happened this Wednesday doesn't show us how much systemic racism there is, doesn't show us how much white privilege there is, then I don't know what does. Because these people felt comfortable enough to plan this event and show up at the Capitol building. And the fact that they were comfortable enough with even planning it and starting it, it's because they're like spoiled children who are used to pushing their parents' boundaries constantly and not getting in trouble for it. And so they've learned that they're not going to have to face consequences like maybe other kids have to. They're not going to have to face the consequences of what they do. So they continue to push boundaries and push them and push them. And that's exactly the way that they acted this time. And it's exactly the way that they're going to continue acting if there isn't a stop put to this. So we got to watch it on live television, and we got to see how systemic racism and just white privilege affects the United States so much. These people got to go home, they got to relax in their hotels, they got to spend time with their families after doing everything that they did. They got to be okay. They got to be alive. And I just think that it's very unfortunate what happened. It just shows us how the country needs to work on a lot of things still. The country needs to, you know, call out the BS of other people. We need to be, you know, holding people accountable. We need to be talking about these issues because they're very, very important issues that albeit, like, although they are very controversial and they are very hard to talk about and very uncomfortable, this conversation needs to happen. So we're 8 days into 2021 and things have gone wild. We're still in a global pandemic. Celebrities and you know who are getting divorced, and now this happens. It's like a continuation of 2020. This domestic terrorist attack was all over the news, and honestly, with everything that's been happening, this global pandemic, how we're all stuck inside for the most part, it really can affect and probably has affected a lot of our mental health. So it's very important to, you know, drink plenty of water, sleep, go on walks, get distracted, you know, take hot, warm baths, turn on candles, listen to music, do things that you enjoy, because the world is really, really chaotic right now. So there needs to be some peace. We need to find some peace. We need to find our group of people that we can be ourselves with, our group of people that can, you know, help us through these hard times. We need to be able to help others through these hard times. We need to be able to help ourselves through these hard times. So I really do wish us all luck this 2021. We need to be taking care of ourselves, taking care of our family, taking care of our loved ones, because no one else is going to do it. So I wish you all the best. I really hope that 2021 turns out better. It's a better year for all of us. Let's just continue to hold people accountable. Let's continue to, you know, fight racism. Let's continue to stand up for people. And with that, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I know it was a video that was all over the place, and I was stuttering and saying a lot, but I did have a lot to say, and I do tend to get heated when I talk about these things. And not only that, but this room is freezing cold, so I'm just like, ooh, freezing cold. I was nervous to make this video. I don't usually talk about my beliefs like this, and I know that people, if I'm on YouTube and if I'm putting myself out there like this, I can get a ton of backlash for any little thing that I say. So yes, it's nerve-wracking, but it's things that do need to be said. Ooh, guys, I'm freezing. Whew. Thank you so much for being here. And if you like this video, please make sure to give it a like, make sure to support me. And I'm gonna go. I talk too much. See ya. Bye.